Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I was just thinking today about how many very auspicious things uh, happen when we're on book distribution. One, most important thing that's happening when we're distributing books is we're pleasing Krishna. Krishna, he comes. Yada yada hidharma shagnani bhavati bharata. He comes whenever there's a decline in religious practice. So, and then Lord Chaitanya himself comes, the most merciful incarnation of Krishna, to help the conditioned souls. So, as Vaisheshika Prabhu put in his book, this is our family business. When we go out on book distribution, we're pleasing Krishna. We're very much pleasing Krishna. Actually, before I start book distribution, when I go out on book distribution, I say to Krishna, Krishna, please accept this as an offering to you, this book distribution. So many offerings are being made to Krishna every day at the temple. There's bhoga offerings, there's artik offerings, there's so many offerings being made to Krishna. But this is the offering that is most pleasing to Krishna. And therefore it's said in the Srimad Bhagavata, Tapyante Lagatapena, Saropaya Sojan, that it's very common for devotees of the Lord to accept voluntary austerity for the benefit of others, to relieve the suffering of others. And this is considered to be the highest method of worshiping Krishna. There's no higher worship of Krishna than to go out and help the conditioned souls. And one may ask, well, why is that? Because when we go out and distribute books, it's possible that some of the people we distribute books to will come to the temple and join the temple. It happens. So therefore, this is the best offering we can make. For a conditioned soul to again come to Krishna is very pleasing to Krishna. It's like I was distributing books some years back, and I gave a book to a young man at Balboa Park, and he came to the temple, and he visited, and he visited, and then he joined the temple, and now he's one of the biggest book distributors in the country. Vijay Prabhu. So Krishna is very pleased when we go out and distribute books, because things like that happen. They come out of the ocean of material existence, the muck of material existence. So another auspicious thing that happens when we're distributing books is we're pleasing the spiritual master. The spiritual master, he's also trying to please Krishna. So when we go out and distribute books, the spiritual master is pleased. Prabhupada said, if you want to please me, then distribute books. So if we're pleasing the spiritual master, then Krishna is pleased. So the perfection of the human form of life is to please the spiritual master, because if we please the spiritual master, then we know that Krishna is pleased, and we get a good word in from our spiritual master. Another one is, we're helping the conditioned souls out of material life. People are suffering. Nehaya karma dharmaya nabi ragaya kapati. The tirthapada seva ajivan api matohi saha. This is in the Srimad Bhagavatam also. If one's work does not bring one to Dharma, if one's Dharma does not bring one to renunciation. And if one's renunciation does not bring one to devotional service, then one is considered to be dead, although breathing. So what we have throughout the world right now is there's a lot of dead people. They appear to be alive. Their eyes are open, they're walking around, but they're dead spiritually because they're not engaged in devotional service. So what we're doing when we go out and distribute books is we're trying to help people come alive again. And also, we're coming alive. Book distribution, it helps us to really take seriously Krishna consciousness. Because as you all know, book distribution, it's not that easy. So that's another thing that's very auspicious about going out, is we're getting purified. That's number 4. We're getting purified. Just like today, I was on book distribution and it was purifying. It was tough. It was slow because now it's the end of the school year and there's not many students. I guess a lot of them kind of drop out towards the end. So it's very slow, but it was good. See, this book distribution is a win-win situation. You distribute a lot of books and you collect a lot of Lakshmi, it's very nice, but sometimes it's tough. But that's also good because we're getting purified. Sometimes we're on book distribution, we get a lot of no's, a lot of rejection. And the false ego don't like that. I remember I was I was given a seminar on book distribution in Russia, and I was speaking about this, about how we don't like rejection. One of the devotees there said, I can't stand rejection. I can't stand it when people say no. I said, well, that means you gotta go out more. You gotta go out and get more no's to help you become a little more humble. So the difficulty that we undergo in book distribution is very good. It's purifying. Yeah. And this is one of the reasons we're here in this Krishna consciousness movement. We're not here just to have a nice prasad and kirtan, but of course that's also purifying. But we want to get purified, and this is the fast track to getting purified, is to go out on book distribution. Because it's difficult. We're trying to approach people, or we are approaching people, we're trying to convince them to take a book or take many books that they'd never heard of before. And we're trying to get them to take it and give their hard-earned Lakshmi, their money. So it's not easy. And that's the 5th one, is that when we're distributing books, we're liberating Lakshmi. Lakshmi, likes to be with Krishna. And when we're distributing books, Lakshmi is coming back to Krishna. And if we sincerely try to please Krishna by distributing these books, then the Lakshmi comes. Wherever there's Krishna, there's Lakshmi. So therefore, sincerity is so important. So how do we become sincere on book distribution? One devotee asked me this when I was in Europe, and I said, well, one of the things that helps me a lot on book distribution is that I read the Bhagavad Gita. And he said, well, I don't like the Bhagavad Gita. I couldn't believe it. He's a book distributor. He's a Hare Krishna book distributor. He said, I don't like the Bhagavad Gita. So I was pretty shocked. I didn't know what to say. I said, well, try to chant sincerely, and then maybe you'll get a taste for hearing Bhagavad Gita. Because the Bhagavad Gita is such an inspiration. The purports, each of Prabhupada's sentences and the purports of the Bhagavad Gita are like a text in themselves. Just so inspiring. So this is how we get inspired on book distribution. We have to have good sadhana. And going out on book distribution, it gives impetus to have good sadhana, because in order to have success on book distribution, we have to be sincere. So that's where the sincerity comes from good sadhana. And we know we're going to be going out there on book distribution. We got to be fired up. Krishna Shakti Vinanahe Tarapavartam, without the mercy of Krishna, one cannot spread Krishna consciousness. So we have to pray to Krishna. And sometimes it's difficult on book distribution. So what to do? I'll tell you a nice verse that has helped me have proper consciousness on book distribution. It's in Bhagavad Gita 5:25. Labante Brahmanivana Rasik Sumakhamasa China Dvaiti Tatmana Sarvabhuta Hitevata. Now you won't hear that verse very much, but it's a fantastic verse. One who is free of the dualities that arise from doubt. Just that one sentence is powerful. One who is free of the dualities that arise from doubt. So if we have faith in Krishna, then whatever happens, we know it's for our own good. Because Krishna, he has our best interest at heart. So if we're having some difficulty, we're getting a lot of no's, that's good. That's helping us to develop humility, tolerance. These qualities are very important. And therefore it's stated, Titiksya, Karuniya, Maitra, Chikila Jantasu, Samatvena, Chasarvatma, Bhagavan Saprati. It's stated that if one approaches others with these four qualities, Krishna is very pleased. Tolerance. We're going to be tolerant. Compassionate. If we're not tolerant, then we can't be compassionate. So therefore tolerance is first, then compassion. So we have to be tolerant, we have to be compassionate. People are suffering. It's described that if one feels pain upon seeing the suffering of others and wants to help, this is a very high level of Krishna consciousness. When we see others suffering and we feel pain and we want to help them, it's very good. That's a high level of Dharma, or Krishna consciousness. So we should want to have a devotee as paradukku dukhi. When he sees others suffering, it gives pain. So therefore he wants to help. So one who is free of the dualities that arise from doubt. So whatever happens is good. Krishna's trying to help us get purified. And of course, we'll also have, times on book distribution where it's just ecstatic. So many people are taking books, so many people are giving donations. It's wonderful. But then there's those other times not so sweet. People aren't taking a lot of books, aren't giving a lot of books. But those are also good times. Like sometimes when I go back to the temple and devotees ask, so how was it out there today, Vijay? And I tell them, well, it was one of those purifying days. And those are good. Those are also welcome because we need purification. So that's good. So Dixya Maitra was a friend to all living entities. We should learn to be a friend to all living entities. Like Vaiseshika, he's probably the best example. He said that there's entrance mantras and then there's exit mantras. He says if someone doesn't take a book, I tell them, well, I want to thank you so much for giving me your valuable time. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. That's if they say no. So he does that sometimes. And sometimes because he's such a gentleman, he has such a nice attitude. Sometimes they come back and say, you were such a gentleman. We changed our mind. We'll take a book and give a donation. Now that's book distribution. Someone says no, come back a half hour later, said, actually, we changed our mind. We'll take a book. So uh, we should be very friendly, always friendly to others. Whether they say yes or no, everyone should walk away with a smile. Okay, whether they say yes or no, whether they take a book or they don't take a book, whether they give a donation or they don't take a donation. We want everybody to walk away with a smile. And therefore, the golden rule. Does anybody know the golden rule of book distribution?
Leave them with good impression.
Yes. Everybody walks away with a good impression. This is the golden rule. And just to finish it off real quick here, Krishna says, Etava Jama Sapoyam Dehinam Deshu. Prana, Artha, Dhya, Vacha, Shreya Acharanam Sada. That Krishna says it's the duty of all living entities to give their life to Krishna consciousness, to helping others be Krishna conscious as well. It's a duty to give our life to helping others, to prana, artha, to give wealth, to give our wealth to Krishna. Diya, to give our intelligence. We have to pray to Krishna for the intelligence to convince people to take a book. It's like sometimes they have excuses. Like I met one guy, I was distributing books door to door in Australia, and I knocked on the door, and the person opened the door, and he saw I had the Bhagavad Gita. He said, no, I'm not interested. I worship Satan. And I said, well, this book is about God, so you should know your enemy. He said, all right, good point. All right, I'll take one. So he took a Bhagavad Gita and gave a nice donation. So one might think, well, that's it. This guy worships Satan. But no. It's like I distribute a lot of books to Christians. They say they're a Christian. I said, no, we're not trying to change your belief. There's always more to learn about God, right? And on top of that, there's many very good arguments in these books against atheism. So we're on the same side. And they say, all right. Sometimes they say, all right, yeah, I'll take a book and give a donation. So we have to pray to Krishna is known as Diyampati. He's the Lord of intelligence. So we should pray to Diyampati, the Lord of intelligence, for the intelligence to convince these people to take a book. So many excuses. Sometimes they say, no, the books are too heavy. I tell them, these books are so heavy, they'll carry you. Oh, okay, I'll take it. So, all right, we got 5 minutes left. I heard we got to go till, what is it? 3:55. What is it over there? What time is it over there? 6:55?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay, 5 minutes. Question.
Yeah.
Answers.
So anybody would like to ask any questions? Please open the questions.
you saved 5 minutes, but there's no questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dharma Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare, this is Vishal Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu, I have joined late, but I have one quick question. Prabhu, when we are distributing Bhagavad Gita, so is it something that we should tell them like little wisdom from Bhagavad Gita so that, so that they get inspired? Okay, what is it inside this book so that it will be easier for them to receive it?
I usually tell them that it's what Prabhupada says. It tells about time. Then I ask them, do you know anything about time? Nobody knows anything about time. It's something we're under all the time. But so I tell them this book, it tells about time, about karma. You've heard of karma, about the soul, about nature, material nature, about the supreme being. So I tell them, exactly what these are the five uh, topics in the Bhagavad Gita. And they're like, oh, okay. And the Bhagavad Gita, you could, a lot of times I tell them that this is the book that Oppenheimer uh, uh, learned Sanskrit just because he wanted to read this book in its original text. I mean, people are astounded when they hear that. That Oppenheimer learned a language just so he could read this book in its original text. The Oppenheimer gets a lot of credit for books being distributed, I think, because a lot of devotees are using that. It's a good one.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
You're welcome.
Well, yeah, I have one question.
Yes.
Prabhu, like when we are on ground trying to distribute books, so sometimes we do say that we pray to Krishna and then we go, but sometimes while being at the spot, we may feel sometimes not so connected, or may not be so brisk in the consciousness that I'm serving Krishna, I'm serving Srila Prabhupada. We're just trying to push the books, and we may not feel that we have that very good consciousness of that being Krishna conscious and distributing books that way.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on that, and how?
Well, we're not pure devotees, so sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down. But when we kind of, our consciousness kind of goes down, then we pray to Krishna. Sometimes even sit down and read a little bit because we want to have good consciousness on book distribution. So, yeah, actually, book distribution is all about prayer. We got to pray. You got to pray, Krishna, please help me to be an instrument in your hands. Please help me to have compassion for these conditioned souls. Help me to see the reality that they're actually a soul. They're not that body, they're the soul within. And they need Krishna. So a lot of book distribution is about prayer. And Krishna, he hears prayer. So if we're sincerely praying, then Krishna, he's the Param Ishvara, he's the supreme controller. If we're sincerely praying, then Krishna, we've all had the experience. You might be having a tough time, and then you start praying to Krishna, sincerely praying. Then all of a sudden, so many nice people start coming and taking books. It's called the Krishna Magic Show on book distribution. You feel, you experience the magic, the reciprocation of Krishna on book distribution. And this is one of the things that makes book distribution so sweet. You feel the reciprocation of Krishna. And it's a nice feeling.
Thank you, Prabhu.
But learn that this verse is very good, 525.
Mm-hmm.
It's a powerful verse. I shall finish it. One who is free of the duality that arises from doubt, whose mind is always engaged within. What does that mean? We're thinking of Krishna, trying to think of Krishna. Who is always busy acting for the welfare of others. We should always be busy acting for the benefit of others, which means giving Krishna to others. And one thing about book distribution is when we're on book distribution, we develop a certain consciousness of giving Krishna to others, right? We try to absorb ourselves in giving Krishna to others. And when we leave our Sankirtan spot, the sacrificial arena, then we shouldn't lose that consciousness. Keep that consciousness. Don't lose that consciousness. Even after we leave the Sankirtan spot, try to keep this mood. Okay, it is now 7:06 6:01.
I'm only
So,
thinking that all these devotees could have been 6:30. They would have
huh?
got full nectar. I'm just thinking they could have got full nectar. At the end, we have more devotees. I feel now the session should go on. Session should go on. I'm feeling because now many devotees are there.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I'm just thinking that we just started up. We just started. It's like a warm up.
So now the people are there.
Not good at it. Yeah,
Oh well.
but yeah, very grateful to you, bro. So we have such a great fortune that we had Vijay Prabhu speaking. Prabhu, we'd like to have you more. We are planning to do it every Thursday for half an hour like this, 6:30 to 7. And uh,
Yeah.
we'd like to have you as much as
Yeah.
possible in
Let
future.
me know.
Yes.
I'm available.
I really like your point
Okay.
of.
Thank you very much.
I really liked your point of
Hare Krishna.
good decision as a prayer. Thank you so much for it. His Grace Vijay Prabhu ki jai.
Jai,
Thank
Srila
you.
Prabhupada ki jai. Let us offer
Jai.
Jai.
gratitude to Prabhuji by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Bol.
Hare Krishna,
Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you Prabhu, for arranging.